Well, it's time to talk a little Astros. Our Ready to Repeat coverage brought to you by Ancira Kia. And to talk a little bit more about the Astros, we welcome in our baseball correspondent, Richard Oliver. Always good to talk with you, Richard, especially about the Astros, a team that has managed to maintain this winning pace despite the pressures of repeating as the World Series champions. And in this recent stretch, what have you seen good out of this team?
Mike, I'll tell you, what's interesting about the Astros is, we've talked about it this year, the big bullseye on their back. Everybody's bringing their best. They always lining up the best pitchers against them when they come in, all those different kind of things. What's interesting about the Astros in the first half of the season is they're playing very good baseball, especially on the road. I mean, they are the best team in baseball on the road, but man, they've got a lot of problems that they've had a hard time sorting out. Right now, George Springer, Jose Altuve, Marwin Gonzalez not hitting, not playing all that well in spots. But you got the pitching is now kind of come back to earth a little bit. The ERA about a whole run higher in June than it was to start the season. So you have all these things happening, but some other guys are stepping up. I think the good news, there's a lot of balance on this team, guys who are stepping up and making things happen. The bad news, other guys need to pick it up a little bit as we head into the second half of the season.
Yeah, the depth has been very evident. And how much has this recent stretch of the schedule helped all these sub-500 teams that have played and then will play kind of all the way up into the All-Star break?
Yeah, we talked about there's 30-something games in a row where the Astros had only two teams that had really competitive records. The Oakland A's are above 500. That's the only team above 500 during this stretch. They ran into a tough Tampa team there. The Rays were playing some great baseball when they went to Tampa. We talked about what a pit that stadium is. Sometimes it's just hard to kind of get fired up when you play there. But the Astros are going to get into the second half here now. They've got the Chi Sox. They've got Tigers coming up. Not great teams, heading into the All-Star break. But then afterwards, things kind of pick up a little bit. So the Astros have to make hay now while they're playing some pretty pedestrian teams.
Well, they've been able to do that, and the Mariners have kind of pushed along with them, so they really don't have that much breathing room yet in the AL West. But I think you touched on it a little bit, this attrition, kind of the injuries starting to pile up, maybe the wear and tear the first half of the season with that pressure. So going to the All-Star break, do you think this comes at a very good time for Houston?
I think it really does. And now you see A.J. Hinch trying to maneuver his lineups a little bit. He'll sit down Altuve for the first time this year. He actually sat out a game. Springer, who is just 5 for 50. I mean, he's just in a slump to end all slumps right now. So there are different things that he's got to manage heading forward. The one thing that's pretty interesting, and there was a concern about it in the first half, is if you talk about a Justin Verlander or a Garrett Cole, guys who have rolled up a lot of innings early. I mean, Verlander is, of course, the biggest innings guy in baseball over the last 5 years. Well, he's rolled up a lot of innings here in the first half. Are they tired? I mean, I don't know. Garrett Cole coming off a pretty lousy performance against the Rangers, comparably to what he's done this year. And you look at Justin Verlander, had like a 4.3 ERA in June. That's not the untouchable Justin Verlander that we've seen, had 3 consecutive losses. You look at those kind of things, and that's the concern. So yes, to your point, the All-Star break hit comes soon enough for some of these guys.
Well, then it's time to get speculative too, and
right.
Prognosticate where they might go or what moves they might make. For the Astros, if you're thinking, I need a piece to become that repeat champion, what do they go out and do, or what do you think they should do before the trade deadline?
Well, I tell you, a few weeks ago, I would have said you've got to go get a closer. I mean, Hector Rondon now is your closer. He's actually done a pretty good job. Maybe they've kind of settled him into a spot that he really thought he could do well. Ken Giles converted his 12th save in 12 opportunities, but he's still got like a 4.3 ERA. I think they've got to go out and get some relief pitching. But again, they had the most lousy May as far as their relief pitching staff, and then they went through a stretch in June where they had like a 1.3 ERA. There's decisions that need to be made. I don't think they need a bat. They've got some guys coming up from the minors. I think if they're going to do anything, they'd go out and get pitching. Maybe a catcher. With McCann having his trouble with his right knee, that might be something the Astros might look at.
Forrest Whitley, another one of those guys that might be coming up soon or after the All-Star break. But another out there prediction for you, because the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Astros have kind of far and away been the best teams in baseball. Might throw the Mariners in there as well. If you're looking down the road to the playoffs, maybe to the ALCS, is it Astros, Yankees again? And this time, do the Yankees have more, or do the Astros have enough to maybe get by New York again?
Well, I tell you what, Yankees, yes, could be very, very tough and competitive heading into, who's hottest going into that stretch of the season. It's the Red Sox that scare me. As an Astros fan, you look at what the Red Sox are doing. They are scoring more runs than the Astros. They're showing more offense than the Astros are. Their pitching has been markedly better than I thought they would be. And they're not afraid of the Astros. The Astros are going to go to Boston here in just a few weeks. We'll know a lot more then when we see how they do there. That's the team that kind of scares me. But the Yankees, of course, they've got a burr in their saddle about the Astros. I mean, they've talked about it all year. They felt like they should have won that American League Championship Series. They felt like they had the better team. we'll see. I mean, they've got their holes as well and things that have not worked out so well for them this year. But yeah, Yankees, Red Sox, one of those two, whichever one it is. Number one, if the Astros can reach the American League Championship Series, that'd be the goal, of course. And to play either one of those teams, it's not going to be easy because they, like I said, have birds in their saddle about playing the Houston Astros.
It's definitely going to be an interesting second half of the season. Richard, we'll talk to you certainly more down the stretch of this season. We always appreciate the time.
Oh, my pleasure.
When you think Kia in San Antonio, think Ancira on Bandera Road. Ancira Kia is the Kia sales leader, year in and year out. You're watching Sports2Nite, San Antonio's only nightly 30-minute sportscast with exclusive sports coverage you won't find anywhere else.